Filler. What's the first thing that comes to mind when you hear those words? Is it the Great Dragon Ball series known as Dragon Ball GT? Cone, the creepy possessed doll from Bleach? Or the most popular anime filler of all time, Boruto? Well, whatever came to mind, I can assure you that that filler was 100% needed. Well, probably like 60% needed. Well, none of it was actually needed, but it was always entertaining.
Always?
Well, more often than not.
There you go.
That filler was more often than not entertaining to watch. And lately, I've noticed a trend. No more like an unspoken agreement between anime studios to produce no more filler for whatever reason. Those money hungry bastards. But in my opinion, that's just hurting anime, and shonen anime in particular, more than it's helping anything at all, really. So that's the topic for today's video. Why filler is essential and how not having it can be very detrimental, not just to shonen anime, but to the anime community as a whole. Okay, so I have separated into my 3 distinct reasons why I feel like filler just elevates shonen anime, and it's just like an overall positive for the anime community as a whole. 1, more content. Now, if I asked you to describe what does filler mean to you, there'd be like 2 different definitions. The official definition and my definition. Well, the real definition, or I would assume like how most people see the definition of filler, would be fan-made or studio-made content that's not canon, that's non-canon. Which is not a bad example. My definition of filler is not just the complete opposite of that. It's that plus I feel like filler just is in its name. It fills in the gap between seasons or in between arcs for the older shows. But nowadays, these newer animes and newer shonen animes are in desperate need of filler. I mean, Fire Force, 5-year gap between season 2 and season 3. One Punch Man, 6-year gap between season 2 and season 3. Black Clover, it's been 4 years since we got a new episode from that. And even Hunter x Hunter, 11 years and counting, still no new episodes. And I know it's a good reason for some of those shows to be taking a break. Like I know, because for some or most of those shows I just named, the anime was getting too close to the manga, so they needed to give them some room to breathe. And that's where filler would have fit in perfectly. Throwing like 5 or 6 episodic episodes, make up a whole arc. I mean, it's filler, it don't really matter. Make up an arc. Then by the time that's finished, I'm not saying give me 5 years of that, but give me maybe a year and a half. It just makes the gap more manageable. Keep the series fresh in your mind. 2, low pressure watching. Now what I mean by that, you don't have to worry about the plot. You don't have to worry about how this ties into that, or when did they talk about this. You just sit back and enjoy. You don't have to worry about, oh, so just because he did this or he said that, that means this happened, or all that confusing rigmarole. You just can watch, enjoy your favorite characters and your favorite series and your favorite world, and just chill, do some other things, some errands, huh? Whatever you're doing. It's just something that you can just play in the background sometimes without having to worry about missing this or that. Like for example, yeah, One Piece is cool. I love One Piece. It's my favorite anime. But sometimes I don't really care about the plot. I just want to see, wait, actually, One Piece is a terrible example for this. As a matter of fact, One Piece, don't even play the rest of the video. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't even pay attention to this. This is not for you. This is actually for like every other anime. One Piece, we don't need any extra episodes. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep dropping those manga episodes. We don't need no, stay away from the filler. I don't want to hear One Piece and filler in the same sentence. You guys are doing it. Y'all, you guys are the golden standard. Don't even worry about it. Back to the topic though. Also, you don't have to worry about power scaling for the viewer wise and for the animator wise, or whoever's crafting the story. You don't have to confirm with the author or whoever is running the series. Like, hey, can this character beat this character? Or you can just freestyle it. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really tie into the main story, so you don't have to worry about being consistent, cause it's just filler. Just enjoy what's happening. Like, wait, this is a show about ninjas? Where did these aliens come from? It's filler. Don't worry about it. Just vibe. And another perk of low pressure filler, it has the ability to flesh out, and most of the time it does flesh out the side characters. Like, the story doesn't always focus on the side characters or gives them a little buzz or a little time to shine, but the main story is about the main character, so they get the main focus. Understandably, it's their story. But the side characters often or sometimes have similar levels or more levels of popularity than the main character, which is outside of the writer's hands, because he write the story for the main character. He's not gonna write in the side characters. So for those fan favorite characters that's not necessarily playing a big part in the plot, they get their time to shine in the filler. You get more attached to them, get to learn more about them, even if it's not canon. Well, sometimes he even becomes canon, but you just get more attached to them. So when like an event happens again with them in the main story, you'll feel more attached. You feel it more. You're more like emotionally invested into them. For instance, in Naruto, most of the Jinchuriki were off screen, but those two little filler arcs where we got to know Yagura, the Three Tails Jinchuriki, and Utakata, the seven-tailed Jinchuriki, and I know it didn't play a major part on the story, or it wasn't really referenced too much in the, or it wasn't referenced at all in the main story. But when we saw them alongside the other Jinchuriki being part of Obito's puppets, you kind of felt, or kind of made me feel like, dang, not my guys. They just reduced the puppets now, and I would have never felt that way if it wasn't for the filler. Filler can also add to the world building sometimes. Like, let's look at Bleach. The Zanpakuto arc, for the longest time, it was just like we only got to know what Ichigo's Zanpakuto spirit looked like, and it was under everybody's belief that he only had a manifestation, like we can only see his manifestation. But then we got the Zanpakuto arc, where we saw all, well, not all, but the main cast Zanpakuto spirits, and then we were like, oh, added to the world building. Like, oh, okay. Everybody has one, we just only focusing on Ichigo's. Cool. And also, one of the few times I actually felt like Naruto, or the characters in Naruto, were actually being like traditional ninjas was in a filler arc. Now, I'm not saying they don't feel like traditional ninjas in the main story, but those moments are like few and far between. Like, they do a covert ops operation, but then it just blows up an entire mountain like range. Like, this not ninjas. But 3, it stops trash anime from being made, or it limits the amount of trash anime being made. Now, variety in anime is a good thing. With the rise of anime being more and more popular, more people want to tell a story that's not just, hey, this kid's coming from nothing, or he comes from humble beginnings and he's gonna grind his way to be the strongest in his universe. No, they want to tell romance stories, they want to tell mysteries, they want to tell comedies. And I think that's a good slope. Like, the more anime gets popular, the more variety we get in anime. Great. But one thing about that slope, it's slippery. Yes, it was all cool and dandy. We get the new anime, we get a good mystery, we get a good comedy, you know, shows with stories to tell. But as animators got further and further down that rabbit hole, they began making more degenerate, brain-rotted content, and those are the people we need to bring in. We need to reel those guys in. We need to stop them. I mean, they started making stuff with elves and tools, and whoever keeps approving these Buddha animes, I hope you burn in hell. I mean, it's the same damn show every time, just with a reskin. I'm sick and tired of it. We can just put these resources to something else, and I fully believe that most of these animators don't want to do this thing. I kind of want to believe in humanity, and I want to think that the animators didn't really want to make the Tesla assassin sex robot anime. I want to believe that. I'm just like, hey, they got families, they need mouths to feed. This is a job. Let's give them a better job where they can be proud of the work and not come home like their wife asks them a question and they be like, hey honey, how was your day?
Well, you know, long day in the studio. I had to animate these titties for 4 hours. I did it once in the first hour, but my boss kept saying my jiggle mechanics was off.
But back to my main point, let's try to get those guys that's too deep in the rabbit hole, let's pull them eyes out and let's let them get creative with some established works and reel in some of those unhinged ideas like life with an ordinary guy who reincarnated as a total fantasy knockout. Like, yeah, we just gotta get these guys back on track. Now, everything about filler is not roses and peaches. Wait, I said that wrong. Now, everything about filler is not sunshine and roses. There are some drawbacks that I can foresee someone arguing against filler. One being, it can be annoying to go through or have to sift through when you're trying to binge a series. I say that from first-hand experience watching or rewatching Bleach or watching Bleach after it already finished airing, having to alright, keep going back, checking if this filler, then how to skip all the way through this, is this filler, skip all the way through this. I can see how that is annoying, but in real time, I'm pretty sure 10 times out of 10 people would have took the filler over just Bleach going missing for that year or two. Another issue I can see people having with filler is the animators may need a break. I agree, the animators do need a break. I'm just saying they don't need a 5-year break, a 9-year or 11-year break. I think we can all agree on that. Those breaks are way too long. And our solution I have, it doesn't have to be the highest quality. Every episode doesn't have to be filler episode. It doesn't have to be Luffy versus Kizaru. It can be a Marineford type One Piece type looking show. Just it doesn't have to be the highest of high quality animation for the filler. It can be a little downgrade or just some regular animation. I just prefer to see those over those trash anime. I'm we can pull the trash anime animators in to work on the filler. None of those shows look particularly great, but they can be decent. We can pull those resources to give them something, give them a blueprint to work with. Then have those guys, maybe they're not animated to the highest of highs, but they can do a decent job. I mean, they can make the show look like the show. Think about the fillers that I discussed, like the Naruto filler, the Bleach filler, or any other filler look particularly outstanding. It just maintains the quality of the show, the quality that the show sets already, and that's all I ask for. And the last thing I guess see someone being against filler is that it can be confusing to fans, especially if you're watching week by week. And I don't think this is a particularly big issue, but I do feel like it's worth bringing up. I have been a victim of this, of not knowing it's filler, on trying to catch up so I can have dialogue, and they talking about this is filler. That's when it's bad. But most of the time, you can right off the bat tell it's filler arc. Naruto has the music, you see Kon and Bleach, etc. And if they don't have those overt hints, I mean, it can be pretty obvious once you start getting into the episode. Oh, all right, this is filler arc, because they're completely all talking, or they don't even talk about the main plot at sometimes. So you're all right, this is clearly filler. Like I said, it's not too big of an issue, but I feel like it's worth bringing up. You can see someone getting confused if wait, that was filler, especially in real time. Okay, all things considered, yes, filler can be hell to sit through at times when you're trying to binge a series, or the animators just flat aren't cooking. It's just bad overall. But filler can be great, or it can shine through when you're watching an anime in real time, and you don't have to suffer through those long breaks without seeing your favorite series. I know it's not canon, but sometimes you just want to see your favorite series. Filler can also add character development to some of those side characters that the author really didn't care about or doesn't give too much screen time to. Filler is just a net positive for anime and shonen, especially if it means we can just get 1 or 2 less brain rotted type anime a year or a season. But that's all, folks. Hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like and subscribe if you did. Also, leave a comment on what your favorite filler is. Click these videos too if you want to stay tapped in with Board Talk. But other than that, have a blessed one.